Carnivore, excuse me. CarniVLOG number 30. It's time. I say my life. I say my channel, my little description. I say life is a process. Let's process it together. And it's time that I go ahead and process some stuff because it's piling up like Lucille Ball with the chocolates. You with me? There's been lots of life coming on down. I made a vlog for my adoption journey yesterday. That's been adding up, and it's no coincidence that as adoption stuff is piling up, or at least it piled up, that emoji. So does my CarniVLOG stuff, because my CarniVLOGing is me vlogging about how I fuel this vehicle I'm in to go and do things like adopt children. Speaking of children, my teenager took my two little girls with his girlfriend to this festival that I'm currently at. I don't want to partake in the festivities to any extent beyond dropping off my football player to join the football float. So I did that. I parked over here. These streets are closed. I'm surrounded by both vehicles. Well, I'm surrounded by vehicles, some with only 2 horsepower. Check that out. I'm parked right behind 2 horses. Seemed like a good place to park. Now, if one of those horses kicks this 2007 Suburban I'm in, I am going to sue the no-button britches off those Mennonites and make a fortune. So bring it, horses. But they don't seem too concerned. I don't know, it just seemed like a sweet place to park. Right by 2 horses. I'm going to sit here and vlog while Franklin does his float thing. I'm cracking up. Thomas took the 2 little girls. Thomas is 18. His girlfriend's 18. She just went away to college. She's back now, and they are with my 2 daughters somewhere around here. Never in 18 years has Thomas ever wanted to take his sisters anywhere. I'm loving little Miss Erin and the effect she has on my son. Thomas is cracking me up, and you can tell it comes very unnatural to him. This morning he's like, "Girls, are you ready?" He's probably just like, I don't know. It's just super funny, and I don't want to tease him about it too much because I'm happy for him to take them to parades and drive-in movie theaters. Here I am. Let's do this. Let's vlog. I've got a lot to process through. I highly recommend processing through things. Don't let it build up. Don't let emotions build up. Don't let life build up. Make sense of it as you go along so you don't have to process through it years from now with a therapist that some of us may or may not ever have the privilege and opportunity to sit in front of. I am now immersed in this culture of extreme poverty after a ministry that Greg and I ran this past summer, just us and our kids. The Lord led us to do this lovely thing downtown, and now I'm just immersed in a culture of people that will never go to the doctor for anything beyond emergencies. And they will never, ever, ever have the opportunity to sit in front of a licensed therapist and tell their stories and have someone hear their stories and help them make sense and reframe and process through so much life. It's sort of this tragic absolute truth that the people that have the most hardship, the most abuse, the most neglect, the most extreme forms of struggling for humanity are the people that will have the least help making sense of it all. Which is why I find this subpopulation, this culture, to be filled with people that are mind-blowingly, amazingly, highly intelligent, resilient beyond what you and I can imagine. These are my people struggling with addiction, mental health issues, and I'm just so painfully and gratefully aware of the truth of Luke 12:48. Too much is given, much is expected. And I have had the blessing of help and resources to process a lot, but very little compared to so many people. Let me encourage you to process through your life. Take the time as you're traveling to stop at stop signs, to stop at red lights, to yield at times, to just press pause as much as possible, and make sense of why you're doing what you're doing, why you're thinking what you're thinking. Don't try and make sense of why other people are doing and saying what they're doing and saying. The Lord taught me that years ago. He said, quit trying to figure her out. Yes, there was a person in particular. But I've applied that to many, many, many more situations. The only person we need to control is ourselves, and we can't even do that. It's the Holy Spirit. It's the fruit of the Spirit. We are desperate, broken, trapped and ensnared by sin. We need a Savior, and His name is Jesus, and I received Him into my heart and life long before I even realized what I was doing, but it all made sense to me at the age of 14 when it was explained to me. So I believe the Holy Spirit has dwelled within me since before I realized it was Him. And I've allowed Him to lead me and guide me for decades now. I have videos on this. How to follow God. What does it mean to be surrendered? But I digress. Actually, the proper way to say that, in my opinion, is, but I just digressed. So let me get back to CarniVLOG number 30. So much to process. Here's today's vlog. Today is not just day one. Carnivocado and getting through withdrawal. I have a lot of sugar and flour in my system right now. Am I proud of that? No. Am I ashamed? No. Do I want it out of my system? Without a doubt. Do I have as much in my system as I once was able to get in there? No. Come to find out, 167 days off of that hard stuff that is more addictive than cocaine. And I've lost some tolerance. I couldn't even finish a little cup of ice cream. And a nibble of a few other things was plenty. I often say, I got to get it in my system to get it out of my system. And I'm considering this whole thing a nice, hard reset. Fasting update. Here's my fasting update. In fact, that's also, I'm writing that down. That'll be part of the title. This is a fasting update. No more. I'm convinced. I am sure, from, unless people are lying to our faces and there's a horse pooping right in front of me. I will not show you. Just imagine it. Take a moment to imagine this horse pooping. I mean, I don't think these are fake six-packs on people, and there's a lot of people that swear by fasting, and I get it. I do think there's major benefits to fasting, undoubtedly. Is it the right thing for me to be doing right now? I don't think so. No. My 90-day fasting experiment has come to a screeching halt. It's just not the right time. I so naively thought, this is going to work out perfectly. My fasting schedule, my 90 days of trying out all different types of fasting, some where you eat every other day, some where you don't eat for 3 days, some where you don't eat every 24 hours, 48 hours, to eat twice this day and not tomorrow. It's just all different forms of fasting that I was looking forward to trying out. I thought this is going to align perfectly with some extreme adoption stuff. So there's going to be two parallel stories going on. Greg and I having more to do than ever, and we typically have a lot to do, in line with not eating. Now, I feel so good doing an OMAD every once in a while. 1 meal a day. Getting 24 hours to just get that mental clarity. The fog is gone. You're just feeling good. It's called fasting. I call it fasting energy, where you're like so productive and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to eat. And you're like, I should eat something, but you're like on a roll around the house. You with me? Okay, well, at some point that tips into at some point you maximize that. It doesn't just keep getting better. It's not like I felt so good after 24 hours of not eating and I felt even better after a month of not eating. At some point, you got to eat again. And this fasting that I was doing with Greg backfired. I was doing OMAD, and on day 4 of OMAD, I was ravenously hungry. So hungry. And I ate some catfish or something like that, and I was like, bleh, like I can't even. I'm like, soybean oil, give it to me. I've got Primal Kitchen mayonnaise at home, but I was like, just give me some tartar sauce to put on this fish. And Greg and I, we were so hungry. It was one day after church. I ran in our little grocery store that used to be Piggly Wiggly. And I came back out with some catfish. And I was like, don't even give me time to think. Is this flour? I don't even know. I don't even care. I have to have fried catfish now. And then Greg was like, we're good. It's not even flour. It's cornmeal, which we're not good because corn is not carnivore. And we used to be carnivore. We'll get to that in a minute. So, look, I grabbed some tartar sauce off the shelf. I grabbed some tartar sauce off the shelf, and I went out and I was like, Greg, here, you want some? And we were both so hungry, and it totally hit the spot. I was laughing. I was like, this has soybean oil. Oh, well. Gobble, gobble. Well, by that afternoon, I was like, no. We cannot keep going like this. I told Greg he's been busier than ever at work. He just had a marathon week. He sells cattle. So he's all over the place. Busy. And I told him, I said, you know what, this fasting mentality, if I'm being honest, can we just be real here for a minute? If I'm being totally honest, yes, I want to fast for the fasting benefits, but I was trying to get skinny. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to like lose a few pounds, and it just backfired. It just backfired. I need to be the tortoise, not the hare, and not try to find these like shortcuts, because I'm convinced there's no such thing. I told Greg, I said, you know, this mentality of you and I doing all this fasting is sort of like me telling you, hey, since you're so busy traveling around, to be more efficient and get even more done, I've got a good idea. How about you like totally skip going to gas stations? Because think about it. They take time, they cost money. Not worth it. Just don't do it. Just skip gas stations altogether. Well, he wouldn't get very far. Fuel is necessary. And he was laughing, and he said, yeah. And he said, you know what? Let's just also quit pooping because that takes so much time. I was like, exactly. Let's just cut out all these unnecessary things that do nothing but take time. Think about how much will get done and how much more money we'll make. We'll have, look, we were finding all sorts of hours in the day. Let's just quit eating. Let's quit going to gas stations. Let's quit pooping. Let's just work. Okay, so we ate fish. I took the boys to their mothers that night. And I vlogged about this in the other vlog. I noticed that I had lost my patience, quote unquote, my patience. Come to find out, it never was mine. It's the Holy Spirit. If I was depending on my own patience, I would have run out a long time ago because I don't have patience. I am not gentle. I am impatient and not gentle. It's the Holy Spirit in me and through me. I promise you that. I swear on the Bible. Here, I'm supposed to be reading. This is Proverbs, but I need to get through 1 Samuel by the end of the month. Okay, so I was so stressed out by Sunday night. I told Greg, I was just like, my gears are locked. I'm tangled up. I said, I just tried to talk to those boys, and I was trying to get on to them while they were at their mother's house and while I was on the phone with them, which Shatika and I, we got this worked out, and she cracks me up. She sometimes texts me, and she's like, Houston won't get in the bathtub. I sort of feel like I've adopted her also, and I'm the mom of everyone. She cracks me up. She tattles. I can just hear her. She's like, I can just imagine her saying, I'm going to tell Miss Emily. They still call me Miss Emily. Anyways, I was trying to handle some business over the phone, but I couldn't control it. I couldn't get it done. I was totally frustrated, and I aim to never feel frustrated, because frustration is when we have a sense that we don't have control over something that we're not supposed to have control over. So just surrender. I tell people, don't be strong, be surrendered. Don't depend on your own strength. It's not dependable. Depend on the Lord. That's what I aim to do. So by the time I got off the phone, I just realized I was like tangled up. And of course, Greg's sitting there watching The Office, giggling. He's not on this emotional roller coaster that I'm on. And I was like, let's go. Let's do it. Get in the car. After 167 days, I was like, let's do it. Let's have a hard reset. I'm starving. I'm famished. And I'm not thrilled with my performance. 167 days of no sugar, no flour, but some mild barbecue sauce that was thick and sugary. Just because it doesn't come in a bottle that says Sweet Baby Ray's or Heinz, you can flip it over and see sugar. Just because it came in a little styrofoam container with no ingredients list, I know it's full of sugar. So over the course of 167 days, I've been letting myself have this barbecue sauce, and that bothers me because I could tell it was my sneaky little, it was like I was in denial. I had my blinders on. I was like, this is fine. It's not fine. It's a trigger for me, even if it's not a physical trigger, which it is. It's a mental trigger, because it's like, you had the barbecue sauce, you might as well have the hot fudge. That's my brain for you. My addicted brain. Audrey told me that she loves how I model imperfection. Look, that's about all Emily is good for. The rest is Jesus. He's the only one that got it right. So don't even stress about flipping and flopping our way through this life. Am I right? That's what we're going to do. And I'm happy to share my experience following Christ, becoming increasingly sanctified and edified, but still imperfect all the while. one day at our family reunion, I had taken the boys. We left the family reunion. I took them to a birthday party with their cousins. I keep them connected with their family. I don't want them 30 years old looking for people. We can maintain relationships now. So I took them to a birthday party with some of their cousins, came back, I was exhausted, and I got myself a big plate of pork so that I could smother it in mild sauce and get high because I'm so sensitive to it now. It made me feel relaxed and happy, and I went riding around in the Kubota with Greg, like eating barbecue sauce with a little bit of pork. Actually, a lot of pork. I ate a whole plate of pork just so that I could have the barbecue sauce. And then I was thrilled because I had a tummy ache so that I could go eat Tums. You guys, addiction. I know it all sounds laughable, but it's real. It's real, and it's in my system right now as I speak. I was so happy to have a bellyache so that I needed to eat chewable Tums. The package recommended 2. I figured 3 won't hurt. I mean, this is addiction. I have a video called The Disease of Greed. It's insatiable. I don't want 2 Tums. I want 22 Tums. But I would be embarrassed to get my stomach pumped and all they found was Tums. What? Sorry. I had a bellyache. And then the Tums seemed to cause a bellyache. So I needed Rolaids. I'm addicted to sugar. Okay, so I'm not stopping this. I'm not editing it. I'm not adding music. We're doing this. October 2nd was our hard reset. And I was like, we're going to start over tomorrow. And we're going to get it right. Now, doesn't that have a video called I'm Addicted to Day Ones? Thinking, that was not perfect, but it's going to be now. Well, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I still can avoid barbecue sauce. So that was the second. The third was day 1. The fourth was day 2. The fifth was Daniel got surgery. That was a lot for me to navigate, helping a child go through surgery away from his mother because I wanted him to recover at our home. She understood that. But I was keeping her in the loop all day long. I was dealing with so much with the doctors and nurses and lots of ministry, lots and lots of just like connections firing off with people that recognized me from different ministries. And it was beautiful and lovely. And I just totally credit the Holy Spirit so much, though. A lot emotionally, a lot spiritually, a lot mentally. Navigating surgery with a child that we had to get the lawyer involved to make sure that the hospital didn't have power of attorney. I mean, this is a tricky thing. Me being the legal guardian, having power of attorney, having temporary custody of children that are obviously not mine biologically. We all crack up about all that so much when people ask, are they adopted? And we're like, no. Why? Why would you think they're adopted? We crack ourselves up. So anyways, it was a lot. And after surgery, he had his tonsils removed. And I was ready to wring his neck. And I thought, this is probably a bad time to wring a neck of someone who just had body parts removed from their neck. That kid had to get his stomach pumped because he accidentally drank a bunch of water, come to find out, after surgery, and didn't tell me about it. And he was groggy, and I was like, you're getting 10 minutes to wake up before I lay into you, child. Oh, he is cute. That helps. But they were like, yeah, and it wasn't like a sip. It was a full belly. He could have ended up with pneumonia, with fluid in his lungs. The whole thing is very dangerous, and that's the nature of being a child. You kind of don't realize some stuff, and I'm sure there's lots and lots I still don't realize. Anyways, the fifth was tricky. I got home from that surgery a little bit cross-eyed with this child that is away from his mother that he loves, and coming in and out of consciousness, and taking pain medication, and needing extra, and I had still not eaten. And by the time I finally got him somewhat settled and I had Mary babysit him, like, just, I gotta go lay down. I laid down and I thought, I'm nowhere close to done. I cannot take a nap right now. Back up, went and got all the kids. I had promised them a soft foods party. Come to find out, you don't have to exactly eat soft foods. That's sort of outdated. I wouldn't recommend popcorn. Can you imagine getting one of those little popcorn kernels stuck? You know how like the shell, the skin of a piece of popcorn kernel, if it's ever, sometimes it would get like suction cupped to like the back of my tongue that's like down here, and like, I don't even want to think about that happening to this child right now. There were a couple things I did not let him eat, but the doctor was like, he can really kind of eat whatever, just whatever. Anyways, I got up, I took all those kids. I was like, tonight's not the night to feel this miserable. So I'm going to have some more sugar and flour. And 2 of my children cried watching me eat ice cream. I calmed them down and reassured them that everything is okay. Which, by the way, I used to cry because I didn't eat sugar with them and I didn't know how to bond with them. Now when they see me eat sugar, they're like, no, while they eat their ice cream. It's not good for you, Mommy. And I said, you know what? It's not, but aren't we glad it's not worse? I'll leave it at that. But I had to calm them down and reassure them that we're all going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. The next day was day 6. The next day, stuff peaked with the adoption in ways I was not anticipating. And I was helping family members get restraining orders from other family members. I was filling out all the forms and driving to all the destinations and helping the children feel as safe as they should feel. And I won't go into all those details, but by the time I got home from that on the 7th, which was just Friday, just 2 days after the surgery, I laid in bed, which was just yesterday. I laid in bed and I thought, I am not willing to suffer withdrawal right now. I stood up, went to the kitchen, and put a piece of caramel popcorn in my mouth and chewed it and swallowed it. And thus began a pretty pitiful binge. I cannot binge the way I used to. Just a few pieces of caramel corn, a few chips, just to like feel better, but also stop the withdrawal process intentionally. I'm telling you, I've never, ever been involved in stuff that I'm involved in now. And I'll be the first to admit, using sugar and flour to cope, that's not ideal, but it's what I did. And then I had a few Hershey Kisses, and then a few more, and then I was like, oh, and then I had 2 pigs in a blanket. There's so much sugar and flour in my house. And I'm not gonna raise 7 kids sugar and flour free. I'd rather teach them how to manage it, which they're doing pretty good. But I was just done, and I texted Karen, and Karen, you know this, you're the definition of Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. You're a blessing. I was feeling tempted to just quit our challenge because I was thinking, maybe I'm rebelling against our challenge. No, I'm not. I'm coping with a lot of life. And Karen prayed for me last night, and I woke up this morning so well rested, which is a testament to how little I can tolerate now of this total crap. When I was explaining carnivore to my mom once recently, she was like, so basically you just don't eat poison. And I was like, ding, ding, ding. Yes. Basically, I'm just not ingesting poison. And my son's acne was horrible about a year ago. I got on carnivore, hadn't bought peanut butter in months and months and months, which means he's not eating it anymore, and his acne went away. Plants have toxins in them with good reason, because they don't want us to eat them. It's a defense. So don't just think that like beer, wine, cigarettes, sugar, flour, poison, 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 without a doubt. But there's also toxins in vegetables, which is why kids have been trying to tell us for years they're awful. I'm kidding, some are good, but I'm just gonna be more safe than sorry. Better safe than sorry. And just look, when I go off the rails, it's not vegetables anymore. It's not even fruit. I haven't had fruit or vegetables since March. Anyways, aside from one that we'll talk about in a second, I reached out to Karen last night after I ate the final Hershey Kiss. The pigs in a blanket was 2 biscuits, a few chips, but I'm just eating it. I'm like, this is so gross. It's just gross. I mean, it was doing the trick. It was getting me high. It was stopping the withdrawal. The withdrawal that I expect to navigate now. And I'm willing to start today, and I'm going to make it public so that I'll freaking get through it. Or publicly shame myself. I'm trying to like scare myself. So if you will, just leave comments, just like, just shame me. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. I would say I would block you, but I wouldn't. I would probably engage in a fight. I'm sort of scrappy. God gave me this personality to, I want to make sure I'm only fighting the fights He tells me to fight, and keeping in mind that the enemy is my enemy. I have a video where I say, no offense, but you are not my enemy. I got to keep that in mind, because I'm like Franklin. Franklin's like, somebody said something to Houston. Can I clock him? And I'm like, no, because you would love to clock him. There's better ways to channel our energy than fighting fights that would be more destructive than constructive. Karen prayed for me. I woke up. Today's a new day. Let's make our way through this vlog, shall we? It might be an hour long, and that's fine, because I'm telling you, to process through things, it's how you're able to handle more. It creates capacity in your life for more. And for me to vlog, for me to put into words the things I've experienced, forces me to process them, because I couldn't possibly just open my mouth and it'll just fly out. It has to like go through this machine here and turn into succinct, coherent thoughts. Sharing my life in this way, it's the same people as writing in a diary. I don't know that people realize what they're doing when they write in a diary, but they're forcing themselves to articulate what they've experienced. It's what therapy is, to get what's on the inside out. And it, unless you like flip top head, opened your brain and someone else could grab it and pull it out for you, you have to get it out. And you can't get it out without processing through it. There's almost no better way. I was going to say filter. You don't even have to filter, just get it out. That's what Greg and I, it's one of our ways we stay happily married. We just put stuff on the table, like with no filter. Like, here it is. Here's like, I'm just, you know, whatever it is, you know, going through seasons of difficult times. And Greg and I have been in and out of all sorts of seasons, but we get it out, we put it on the table, and we look at it, and then we analyze it. And you don't want to like, by the way, if you're willing to do this with someone, you're like, let's just get it all out and put it on the table. Well, then you can't, you have to decide ahead of time, you're not going to be offended, because this person needs to feel safe getting what's on the inside out. And then you just make sense of it together. Like, I won't go into details, but there's just been times where Greg and I cracked up because I'm like, okay, don't be offended, but this is what I'm thinking. And it's like ridiculously offensive, but he's like, okay, all right. And I'm like, where do we go from here? I don't know. Let's figure it out together. That's the whole point. We're on the same team. We're not opposed to each other. I tell people, save offense and defense for sports. Don't be offensive or defensive with people you're in a relationship with, because that pits you against one another. So for me to process my life and vlog these vlogs, if 0 people listen to this, I'm better off. That didn't come out right. I'm not better off if 0 people listen to it. I'm better off for having done it, regardless if it goes viral. It's just funny. Have you seen that hour-long video of that lady making sense of the sugar in her system? It's sensational. Okay. Whether 10 people listen to it or they don't, it benefits me. I would do all this just for me, and I'm thrilled for it to help you. And it helps me when other people share their experiences that I can relate to. So anyways, we're all in this together. You with me? Literally. You with me? Yes, we're together. Okay, so fasting update. That's the fasting update. It backfired. The fasting backfired, period. And by the way, that was fantastic data. We did it to run an experiment, and we cut the experiment off like anybody should. If they're like, I'm going to run this experiment and jump out of an airplane and see what it feels like to land, and then halfway with no parachute, and then halfway down they're like, this is a bad idea. Parachute, right? We gathered the data that I needed to gather. Now is not the time for me to be fasting. Now is the time for me to have steady fuel, and it almost makes me giddy because I'm excited. I'm glad we did this fasting, because it didn't feel good, and now this feels amazing to give myself steady fuel throughout the day. I've been listening to Stephanie Persons quite a bit, and she's all for 3 little meals and, some fat sprinkled in there if you want, like a piece of fried pork belly before a workout. Like, it's like a little, $5 at the gas station before you pick that kid up, and then you can stop later on your way home and fill up. Anyways, it just feels good. It feels right. And it is data. And it was excellent data. I am not upset about losing my nothing but barbecue sauce streak. I'm not upset about it. It's data. I've gathered some data. Very important information. Good to have. When life is extra lifey, I should have steady fuel. I can allow my body to experience and enjoy autophagy and the benefits of fasting another day. Like maybe when things have settled down a bit. Okay, this is not just day 1. Yes, it's day 1. It is. And I'd like to beat my streak. Before my 167-day streak, I had a 56-day streak. That was the longest I could go on Bright Line Eating. Before I binged my brains out December 12th, 2020, I think. 2020. Yeah, I think 2020. Because I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning, and then we went to pick up poodles 6 hours away. We were getting Jubilee and Walter as newborns. So cute, so fluffy. And Greg was like, oh, no, I need you to drive. And I was like, I didn't sleep. I can't function. And I was like, I know what I'll do. I will stop at a gas station and get 15 things. And I'll get so high I could drive for 3 days. That was 56 days. And that was Bright Line Eating. And that was still lots and lots and lots of sugar. So this 167 days was a whole lot less sugar. So now I'm trying to level up, right? Yes, it's day 1, but it's not just day 1. And let me explain that to you. It's also day 129 of my commitment with Karen to do nothing but beef, butter, bacon, and eggs for 200 days. And I'm just killing it. I'm just absolutely killing it. I think I've done that out of 129 days. I think I've nailed it like at least 3 times. Karen, you're so patient. I love it. I love our commitments. I'm glad my marriage is not, I'm glad I'm better at staying committed to Greg than I am staying committed to beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. But anyways, I'm not quitting. I am not quitting. I will cross that finish line December 18th covered in chocolate if I have to. But I'm going to eat nothing but beef, butter, bacon, and eggs for 200 days. That's my commitment. Anyways, you get my point. It's not perfect, but that's the beauty of Ecclesiastes 4:9, that when two are better than one, because when one falls down, I have someone to pick them up. And there's a better return for their labor. So, Karen, I'm counting on you. When we cross that finish line and I'm covered in chocolate, you are going to be the one doing the interviews. You with your loose britches. I'm teasing. I will not be covered in chocolate, and I'm not envious of your loose britches, because they're going to be my loose britches soon. I'm going to take your pants. No, I'm not. Okay. All right. This is day 129. This is day 999 of my 3-year commitment to, now that commitment's changing. It was to do nothing but beef, butter, bacon, eggs, and no restaurants for 3 years. The Lord has let me off that hook. Sometimes I put myself on hooks that he's like, thank you, but you don't have to do that. And now that's changed to carnivore-ish. Okay, we'll get there in a second. So today's actually day 999 of that. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's day 99 of that. I'm on day 99 of my 3-year commitment, which every time I think about that, I think, oh, it kind of makes me cringe to think how quickly 3 years go by. So I don't want to like try and rush through that commitment, because I'm thinking these are days that I have with my dear Greg, and every single day I rip a page off that commitment. There went one of our days together, and our days are numbered. This is also speaking of Greg, day 8,337 for me. It's not just day 1. It's day 99. It's day 8,337 of my life with Greg. It's day 15,703 since my mother and father, you know what, and I was conceived. That's a rough estimate. It's 15,433 days since I was born. But my life began the moment I was conceived. 9 months times 30 days is 270. So it's roughly 15,703 days ago this whole thing began. My point is, yes, today's day 1, but I've come a long way. And having sugar and flour in my system does not negate the progress I've made. I'm way further along in my journey than when I used to poop in my pants. Can we just acknowledge that? When I was a baby, okay? Anyways, it's not just day 1. It is day 1. I was going to say it's not day 1, but it is. It is, and I want it to be, and I want to beat that 167 in more ways than one. I want to get more days and less barbecue sauce and my mother-in-law's chewable Tums. If her Tums go missing, she's going to be like, damn it, excuse my language, Emily's back in the sugar. Butch, we need to lock our cabinets. All right. Carnivore-ish. I'm no longer carnivore, which I love. I have a whole sermon on do not identify with anything temporary. And everything you can see here on earth is temporary. Everything you can see and hear here on earth is temporary. It's all temporary. If you can see it, it's temporary. This is scripture. Okay. 1 Peter 1:24. We are flowers quickly fading. And you know what I tell people? If you look in the mirror and don't like what you see, quit looking in the mirror. I told my daughter that this morning. She was stressing over her little ponytail, and I helped her. We wet it down, and we brushed it in different directions to get it how she wanted it. And I get that. I pray to the Lord to help me with my ponytail all the time because I want to nail it. I don't want to think about it. I want to get it done. But at some point, you can just decide to get on with it. I said, all right, girl, now we did what we could do. Now go. Because think about it. Later on, when you're beating Franklin up out in the yard, when you're playing basketball with Houston, when you're riding that bicycle, you won't even think about the hair on your head. We only care about how we look when we're looking at it. Let's care about how we look. Let's care about our perspective more than our physical appearance. How we look versus how we look out into the world. That was good. So this flower quickly fading, which by the way, now that I've adopted these little brown children and their skin is velvety, beautiful perfection. And I stand in front of that bathroom mirror with them and we crack up about stuff. We get real silly. And I try to make some of the same silly faces they're making. I look in the mirror and I'm like, ah! It's terrifying compared to their little faces. So I just laugh, and then I walk out of the bathroom and start a little laundry. Something much more productive than nitpicking, which is satanic, by the way. Satan would love for us to be so self-absorbed and self-obsessed and trying to forever improve. These flowers quickly fading. I could be in a car wreck on the way home today and lose my face and still be grateful for my life. Let's don't identify with anything earthly. So that's why I crack up and say, I'm no longer carnivore. That's fine with me. If I put the word am, and again, I have a sermon about this, about identity and how a lot of us, our identity is absolutely wrapped up and defined and entangled up with and interwoven with things we have, how we look, things of those nature. The only thing I want to put after I am, not I have, not I feel, but if I put I am with a blank, I just want to say Emily. I am Emily. Or a child of God. Period. We need to identify with what's on the inside of these vehicles because we are not our bodies. And I could go in, I will, here. We're not our bodies and here's evidence. If I got in a car wreck and lost both my arms and both my legs, would I be half of me? No, I'd still be all of me. We are not our bodies. We are inside of them. We are a spirit. We have a soul. We are in a body. You are not your body. Your body is a gift to take care of and manage. And that's easier said than done sometimes. But you're not actually your body. You're in it. So use it. Appreciate it. Take care of it. But don't obsess over it and don't identify as it. So I don't even identify really as a carnivore, but I'm not anymore anyways because I've added, drumroll, avocado. After much prayer and consideration, Karen and I finally discerned we are adding avocado, which I'm pretty excited about because it has a lot of potassium and I would rather avoid leg cramps with the foods that I'm eating than with the supplements that I'm supplementing with. I just like that idea of not having to take supplements because I ingest the amazing miracle of food. People that don't believe in God, I'm just like, that's hard for me to believe that you would think there's a ball of fire just floating that's the perfect temperature and distance from the earth to keep us warm and have things grow. And like you think we're going to get it figured out? Come on now. Compare your brain to that sunshine. Your brain is smaller. God is amazing and He provides well. And He put potassium and tons of good fat in avocados. Yes, they have carbohydrates, but apparently they also have so much fiber that it takes so long for your body to assimilate and accommodate the new, oh, hang on, Greg, the carbohydrates into our system. I'm gonna have to wrap this up because I need to call him back and I don't want to pause it and have to string it together. It's so little carbohydrates. Stephanie Person told me not to worry about it and I trust her. So my new diet is, I'm gonna identify as this. Am I keto? not necessarily. Am I carnivore? No. I am Carnivocado. I am a Carnivocado. You heard it here first. It's going to be a huge trend. There's going to be so many Carnivocados. By the way, I'm so proud that I keep getting that right. That took so much practice. Carnivocado. I had to finally tell myself, Emily, you're just switching the short A sound for the short I sound. But you're also changing some inflection there. Avocado. Carnivocado. So, just so you know, because anybody following me, by the way, in case you haven't noticed, I'm figuring this out as I go along. So listen to me. If you listen to me, unless you're listening to me talk about the truth, Jesus Christ and the Bible, take that. Take my word for it. Take his word for it. He's the word, John 1:1. If you're listening to all this food talk, take it from me and everyone else with a block of salt. Okay? You literally have to navigate what works best for that body you're in and that brain you're in. And it's very complex because it actually ties into things that are not even food related. Some of us should eat several times a day so that we're enjoying the gifts God has given us and we don't tap into things that are more behavioral or psychological. It doesn't even all come down to just biology. There's a lot of psychology. And it's literally as unique as our DNA. You know, how each of us should be doing this. So, Karen is really helping me. I tell people, you can have strategies in place, but if you can come up with some motivation, that's like a steroid shot in your arm to get more done. Karen is a few years ahead of me on this human journey. So she is motivated to avoid cholesterol medication and blood pressure medication. I'm not quite there yet. I'm neck deep in like, you just ate lunch. I don't know. Go get turkey. Eat turkey. Marion Canino said, we didn't get dinner. And I was like, you got a late lunch. And they said, well, we kind of were thinking maybe you were going to make a big dinner. And I was like, you thought wrong about that. And they said, we thought maybe you were going to make spaghetti. And I was like, what in me in my bathrobe hiding from the world makes you think I'm about to get up and make spaghetti? I didn't say all that. I just said, not tonight, sweetie. Go get some turkey. I'm not thinking about cholesterol medication and high blood pressure yet, but I love that Karen is my mentor. She's leading me in that respect, in that regard. I'm still like soccer mom. No soccer, football, basketball. I'm like neck deep in sports. Just Franklin asked me the other day, like a true child of two former special ed teachers, Mama, what is your goal with all of this? He's 10 years old. I said, to get off and stay off sugar. That's what I want my goal to be. And he said, oh, I thought it was just to get skinny. And I was like, you're speaking the truth there, kid. I do. My mother-in-law asked me years ago, what is your goal with all of this? I had a bunch of followers and I even had merch. She said, what is your goal? And I was like, to get skinny. Isn't that all of our goal? By the way, I love that I've gotten so skinny it was too skinny. So I'm actually feeling really fantastic right now at this weight. I love that I have energy. I love that I have some stored energy. I've got some reserves. But the reserves, like I can't breathe some days because the reserves are a little too reservy. And my jeans are so tight. But anyways, we're good. Carbohydrate. I trust a lot of it's water. Of these next few days of withdrawal, I'm going to up the water to flush some fluids. I'm sure I'm dealing with lots of water retention. And again, I don't want to get back into it and stay in it because I love that my sensitivity is so much higher. I don't have the tolerance that I had. So that's pretty awesome. Again, we're making progress. All right. That's it, you guys. One more little thing. I'm going to vlog daily because I want to share my experience of getting through withdrawal. So it's going to be called Getting Through Withdrawal. It's creative. Getting through withdrawal, all capital letters. That's 24 letters. I'm going to vlog every single day. I'm making this commitment now. I hope this is stress relieving and not a stressor, but we'll see, won't we? If I only get through half the letters, you'll know I'm covered in chocolate somewhere. Pray for me. Okay, getting through withdrawal. That's 24 letters. They're going to be in all capitals. I'm gonna vlog every single day at the end of the day, and I will share pictures. I'll string it together. I'm gonna make it 5 minutes or less. I will upload the video before 10 p.m. Central. I'm making this up as I'm just like literally making it up. This whole commitment, but it's being recorded. So I will upload each day's video, 24 days in a row, getting through withdrawal before 10 p.m., 5 minutes or less. I'll show you every calorie that I consume. Now look, it's not going to be perfect. This is like me. Just keep in mind. You're like, what? Why is she eating Wendy's burgers again? Because I have like 16 kids behind me and they're all eating Wendy's. We eat Wendy's, all right? But I'm going to put ready for this? Here's my goal. High fat, high, medium, low. You ready? Write this down, at least in your brain. High, medium, low. High fat, moderate protein, low carbs. Those are the only 3 macros on the planet. There's micronutrients that are fruits and vegetables. I mean, vitamins and minerals from fruits and vegetables, but we actually get all the vitamins that we need from foods other than fruits and vegetables. I think. I don't know. I'm learning. Again, grain of salt. I'm no expert on this kind of stuff. But think about that. Macros. Every single calorie comes from either a fat, a protein, or a carbohydrate. I like that I've just woven some carbohydrates back in because here's an update. My muscle cramping was horrible. I was waking up every day trying to find some delicious way to drink keto chow. I don't want to drink a ton, so I was not diluting it much. So I was trying to add cinnamon, and I was like, I'm going to call this a salty cinnamon water, like salty caramel. I don't know, I was trying to make it because it's salty. And I was adding more salt to it, actually, and more potassium, more no salt, more. And then one day I was like, I'm going to try and make a Bloody Mary and just have a bunch of keto chow and cayenne pepper. I don't know. I was trying so hard to not have muscle cramps. So I'm glad to have some carbohydrates that hold water, that hold potassium from the avocado. Listen, we're just all trying to get to heaven, making our way through this human experience. And there's a lot of troubleshooting involved. I'll show every calorie. I'm going to get through this. I wanted at least 14 days, but I also wanted to spell something out. So I was going to spell out like withdrawal something. I don't even know what. I like this. 24 days. 24 days. I will upload daily. I will show you what I eat, and I will talk a bit about the withdrawal. I expect it to be difficult, somewhat like the flu, processing things out. Sugar and flour cause depression and anxiety. I don't like either one of those. But the fat helps with anxiety. Karen and I were cracking up. Men versus women. And there's a big difference. Isn't it funny? In 2022 to even say men versus women is like, oh, we've lost our minds, haven't we? Men versus women. So my husband, if he doesn't eat enough, he's like, I'm hungry. If I don't eat enough, I'm like, I have so much anxiety because of my hormones. Fat, high fat, moderate protein, so that you don't go into gluconeogenesis, where you eat so much protein that you're still running off sugar. You're not even in ketosis. You're not even burning fat because you're eating so much protein that it's turning it into glucose, which is sugar. High fat, moderate protein, and low carbs. So again, I'm no longer carnivore because I'm thrilled to enjoy an avocado, probably one whole avocado every day. I asked Karen, I was like, do you think I could have 6 or 8? She's like, no. I said, okay, let's just keep this between ourselves. Karen is so perfect for me. She is not a Tigger like myself. I would diagnose her as much more of a, all right, this guy's petting the horse. If it backs up and kicks me, we're gold. Nope. Oh, well. But I'm like a Tigger. My husband's like an Eeyore. And Karen, I'm just going to go ahead and publicly diagnose you as an Eeyore. And that is based solely on your texting patterns. You don't send nearly as many emojis or exclamation marks as I do. Or paragraphs. Karen, you're awesome. You're a blessing. Oh, girl, I'm going to hug you in person someday. You guys, that's it. I'm going to spell out getting through withdrawal. So, like, tonight when I upload, it'll have a capital G and a hyphen. Then tomorrow when I upload, it'll have a G hyphen, capital E hyphen. And then eventually it'll say getting through withdrawal. And maybe I'll make a final video and say, we did it. Time to celebrate with a blizzard. No, not really. Mom, that reminded me of you, your sense of humor. Okay. I think that's it. Let me make sure. I'm going to go through my list here. The 2nd, the 5th, and the 7th, I consumed sugar and flour. No surprise. I was ravenously hungry and then stressed out and not willing to go through withdrawal, but I want to now. I want this sugar out of my system. That's it. That's it. Here's my notes. We did it, you guys. We did it. 1 hour, 59 seconds. I asked Mary, there was a timer going off the other day. It was like counting down. I said, Mary, how much time is left? She's like, I can't. There's 5 minutes. Mom, I can't tell you how much. She couldn't tell me how much time was left because it kept changing. And I was like, just tell me the first number, like the minutes. It was so cute. I'm going to stop while we're still under an hour and 5 minutes. I love you guys. That's CarniVLOG number 30. I have sugar in my system and I want it out. And I'm going to share the process of getting it out of my system. I was saying that sugar and flour cause depression and anxiety because they cause inflammation. They make the back of my neck hurt. They make me touch sore all over. It causes inflammation, which in our brain, the brain tissue swells and it causes depression and anxiety. It is legit. So that's it. I love you. I'm so glad you're traveling with me. Thank you if you've listened this long. If you have listened this long, comment below any emoji of any animal. It could be a koala bear, it could be a tiger, and I will know who listened all the way. I love you guys. That's it for now. God is good. He is with us. He does not expect perfection, but he does expect direction. And we can be headed in the right direction. And we can be filled with hope again. And I made a video once about this years ago. And that can happen instantly. Because it feels so good to know. Even when you don't have all the details worked out or figured out, it feels good to know we're headed. It feels good to know when you are headed in the right direction. This is right. Aiming to get sugar and flour out of my system. And by the grace of God, I will. But again, everything I've talked about for the last hour is earthly and temporary, and I don't want to worry about it, but I do want to handle it so that I can work for the Lord. Colossians 3:23. I want to work for the Lord, not for man. 1 Peter 5:8. I want to be of sober mind because the enemy, the devil, is like a prowling lion looking for someone to devour. I know better than to consume poison. And I believe God has me every once in a while, maybe so that I can share how I navigate this very imperfect human existence. I love you dearly. That's it for now. One more little look at these horses. We'll talk again soon. Bye.